The word was spoken by the mouth of the prophets. Let it be. Times of hard working and poverty of souls. The flesh is at a crossroads. Behind the walls of lies, vices of hearts, the human heart despises the truth. Doomed to misery, blind slaves, systems of hungry spawn. And among all this crowd, nuggets hide in empty apartments on the outskirts of cities, tormented by everyone and at all times, utter the word of life with pure lips. The weak string will sink into the deep of oppression, and after it, a new life will be reborn under the all-seeing eye of God, the Spirit of Truth.
I welcome you to the Movement to the Light platform. We will not tell you how to act, how to think, and what to do. We only give you access to information and how to dispose of it. Decide for yourself. I want to say in advance that you should not look for justice, but you should look for yourself and your place in this world. Because in the world of manipulation and deception, it's difficult to find the right answers. There will also be no answers from our side. Only keys will be given so that you can independently participate in the assembly of the game called life. And today it's time for the 16th series. About everything and nothing. A string, a fuss, people are rushing there, rushing here. Vanity has become synonymous with life replacing the truth. Replacing a lot of things in a person's life, vanity is an indicator that a person is in a hurrying somewhere, but there is no way to go somewhere, but only a direction. The direction is not the truth, because only the path can be true. The path defines the final goal, the final destination. Where are you going, man? And what are you chasing? Questions to which there is no answer, because any answer will be a lie, because vanity itself is a lie. Vanity is given to a person for testing his true motives. Where the motives are false, there is a vanity of the lady, there is a sea of thoughts and an ocean of reasoning. Where the motives are true, there is no fuss, but there is a way to overcome oneself and to know the inner world. The inner world is calm for the lady, is his love. It is a reference point along which a person should move. But it isn't obliged, because a person had the right to choose and it is a person's duty to make it. The choice of truth imposes limitation, because the path of overcoming is the path of humility. The humility of one's patience, one's heart, and one's tongue, which pours out false assumption. Every truth is clear, simple, unified, and open. Every lie has a million forms and manifestation, but it never has unity. The lie is based on ignorance and is covered with knowledge of theories. The theory is good by itself because it can be absolutely anything. The truth is different from a lie, from any theory, because it is one, because it opens the way, reveals itself to a person, reveals all the vices, reveals all the falsehood, all the lies that cover society with many layers. The main thing to remember is that vanity in a direction, there is a lie. The truth is the way, there is a life itself. And every person who has no life no longer fuses, no longer builds false concepts, but strives to know himself and help the world come better, be doing good, carrying in it his heart, in his language and in his action. Living in a big city, a person quickly gets used to the high rhythm of life by the word's high rhythm. A person understands constant movement from one point of the city to another, first to work, then to lunch in a cafe, then back to work, then personal matters, then you also need to meet with friends. And only then you can go home, shower, internet, sleep, and go to work. That's the whole diet. Many people live like this all their lives and consider it is completely natural rhythm. That's exactly what they think, because the ability to think differs from the counting in that you need to make efforts to think, being critical of what you are doing at the moment. This opportunity is available to most people every day. It is enough just to show diligence, but even here the favorite trait of people intervenes in a matter, and this is laziness. And laziness has a girlfriend and a partner who accompanies lazy people everywhere, and her name is theory. As a result, we have a society of absolutely lazy people for a useful action, but at the same time we have a society of effective theorists who know the answers to all questions, just not to change life in the present moment. Of course, these people can say that they are satisfied with everything, but this is a lie, because as the practice shows, there are only a few people who are satisfied with everything, and they are disgarnished by rare hard work and a desire to make not only their own but also somewhere else life better. Theorists and all of stripes perfectly express their thoughts in language, but you will not see good deeds behind them. At most, they will do it to protect themselves and seem like a kind person. But all this is a show-off, and when the time comes to truly important things, they will definitely evaporate, and always at the very last moment, so that you can no longer have the desire to move forward with them. Thus, theorists not only do not want to do anything useful for society, but they also destroy any favorable initiative by their inaction, although it was written that a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of birth. Most of them don't strive to have a good name, but they strive to find a profitable place. They want to have an expensive suit in the deck of events, but life is arranged differently. Life is not a successful combination of circumstances, but it is a result of the invested forces and skills. And even if someone managed to get a profitable job, this doesn't mean that he was lucky, because you never know somewhere else fate, but what you should definitely know perfectly well is your fate, and your life is in your hands or not. This is a great question to sort out today. In previous broadcasts we have already given an answer to it, but it is worth expanding it in order to increase this knowledge. Life is something that doesn't belong to a person, but there is something that arrives in him for a while, and time is the measure that measures human life, and the measure of life in the spirit of truth. Here he is the true owner of it. For many it will sound like a bolt from the blue, which is why these people come up with a different kind of theories about everything and nothing, just not to get to the truth, because it requires sacrifice and humility, and who is ready to make sacrifices for the sake of the spirit? There, now it is time of speed, the times of desires, the time of pleasure and comfort, and everything in this world, and subordinate to the thirsts for profit. But you should not delude yourself ahead of time, cause surely oppression drives the wise into madness, and the bribe corrupts the heart. Better is the end of a thing that is beginning, and the patient in the spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the heart of fools. Say not, why were the former days better than this? For it isn't from wisdom that you ask this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance and advantages to those who see the sun. For the protection of wisdom is like the protection of money, and the advantage of knowledge is that wisdom preserves the life of who has it. And now I want to know at least something from what I have read coincidence with the people of our modernity. Yes, if not everyone here, then almost everyone wants to get everything at once, wants to appear and is not someone. Moreover, it would be fine if people really admitted their worthiness, what? No, they, knowing the truth, still tell lies, and sometimes in a very aggressive tone, because today the winner is not the one who is right, but the one who is more eloquent. That is why people often turn to their personalities, often try to inspire the interlocutor with a sense of guilt in order to manipulate him in the future. And moreover, these accessors don't see anything predictable in this, because winners are not judged, right? Or is it incorrect? As they say, what is allowed to Jupiter is not allowed to the bull. People have become too arrogant, considering their external beauty as something special, considering their success in business as something exclusive, but people forget that they all this vanity cause. Then I saw that all toil and all skill and work comes from a man's envy of his neighbor. This also is a vanity and a striving after wind. The fool folds his hands and eats his own flesh. Better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and striving after wind. What is that then turns out? It turns out that it is necessary not to work, or to work but for prosperity, not for profit. To be honest, all judgments are wrong, because they come from vanity and longing of the spirit, and from them thoughts about everything and nothing are born, because it's easier to exist in the fog of ignorance than to live clearly under the sun. When a person wants to see clearly and makes all his efforts to achieve the results, then lots is revealed to a person. Science opens up to him, knowledge opens up to him through books, the essence of people opens up, that people are like ants, and the world is like an anthill. But ants have their own hierarchy, but humans have it broken, because everyone wants to take the best place under the sun. This place is not given without blood, it is not given without betrayal, it is not given to the good, it is not given to the wise, and then a person is overcome by despondency. Anger overcomes that the world is unfair and doesn't give fruits according to their merits, but gives them to the insidious, gives them to greedy people who were able to take a place at the top by cunning. Then a person involved with the wisdom is visiting by these thoughts. So I hated life, cause what is done under the sun was grievous to me, for all is vanity and is striving after wind. This is one of the saddest pages in the life of every person who not only thought about it, but also decided to understand life, and this life comes not pleasant to a person, because everything is vanity and there is nothing that could please a person, because joy is the unity of the common good. But a person sees only destiny, that people's emotions are fake, there is an imitation of nature, and the true essence of people is only vanity and longing of the spirit, and there is nothing that could please, and there is nothing that could be real. And you know what I will answer to these people? Yes, you're right, you are absolutely right. In this world, there is really nothing but vanity, and only vanity is something that moves people, that gives them hope that they are doing everything for nothing, that there is some sacred meaning in this, but all this is theory and the machination of the mind which clings to what is beneficial to it. And for you as a person who has understood something in this life, the benefit is no longer a guide, but the truth is your true guide. And as it was said at the very beginning of the program, life doesn't belong to a person, but only arrives in him for a while. And as it was said in previous broadcast, everything in life is really vanity and longing of the spirit, except for the spirit of truth, which was unknown to man during the life of ecclesiastics, but in our time he is not needed at all, because ignorance closes his eyes with a veil, and the thirst for profit holds this veil with a strong hand. But you are the life of other people. What are the concerns to you? What are the destinies to you? Because the question is not what will happen, and not what was, but what is for today. What is the moment in time, cause for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to love, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear and a time to sue, a time to keep a silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for a war and a time for a peace. The only question is, what are you personally doing? Are you busy with your life, or do you live in vanity and poor thoughts from empty to empty? What are you doing right now? Ask yourself this question when you finish watching by this program. But one thing I can say for sure, if you live by ignorance, then you live by vanity. And if you live by wisdom and knowledge, then you multiply sorrow. And what does it matter to a person? After all, the Spirit teaches us to multiply life on earth. But so what if our own life is more meaningless? We don't want to live in a vanity, but we also can't multiply life in the vanity of other people. So what can we do? I will leave this question out of brackets. You will have to come to this answer yourself, and depending on what answer you come to, this is how your person's life will develop. The only thing I would like to wish for myself personally, do not despair, do not be discouraged, do not be afraid to take risks, do not forbid yourself to love, and don't turn away from the world. This is about what you should not to do, but what you really have to think about and think carefully is what you can personally do for the world, what you can personally give to the world to make it better. What are you personally ready to give to another person to let joy into his heart? Think about it carefully. After all, the Spirit of Truth will never leave a person. He would never tell him, I'm tired, I can't do it anymore. He won't say, solve your problems yourself. He'll never say, that's all good deeds were in vain. The only question is what you will tell him and what you will do for him. Results. Everything in the world is vanity and longing of the spirit except the Spirit of Truth. People choose vanity because of ignorance. Ignorance always creates theories about everything and nothing. The truth creates life, which is expressed in a multiplication through action. The Spirit of Truth is not visible to the blind and stupid, but is visible to the wise. The life of a person on earth doesn't end when he receives wisdom, but requires the search and application of his powers. A person must determine for himself how he can help life, Having found the answer to the seventh point, a person will multiply life, and by multiplying life, a person will have a continuation in a new place, in a new time. And one last thing, remember, one series will not give an exhaustive answer to everything. We did it this intentionally so that you would come to the conclusion that there is no one answer to everything, that the answer to everything lies in the answers to many questions. We'll analyze these questions in the following series, which will complement each other so that you have a complete picture, because the whole, although it is a combination of many details, is not always identical to them. Just like life, although it is a combination of many events, it is not events initially. And in order for individual events to still move into life full of meaning and content, it will require making the right efforts. We'll finish this today. Peace be upon you and your home.